Hello and welcome to RGS Adding Sites and Project Members. In this tutorial, I'll be guiding you through how to add sites and project members that haven't been added when registering a project in RGS. All project sites covered by the ethical review of the Lead Human Research Ethics Committee, or HREC, must be added to the Sites tab. Project sites include locations where the project will be conducted or where participants, their biological samples or data are being accessed. Only sites covered by either the WA Health or National Mutual Acceptance Single Ethical Review schemes should be added here. Those that are involved in the project but are covered by a separate HREC review, for example private organisations or universities, can be added later in project details. If you're unsure of which sites to add, contact the Ethics Office for advice prior to adding them. If you wish to change the project jurisdiction from the one entered on registration, you can do so here. Sites can be added to the Sites tab through the project lifecycle, though an amendment form will be required following ethics approval. If you can't find a site and think it should be listed, click here to contact RGS support. Sites that have already been added on project registration will be listed here, along with their jurisdiction, region, activity status, and site authorisation status. Sites can only be added or deactivated by the Coordinating Principal Investigator, or CPI, their CPI delegate, Principal Investigators, or PIs, their PI delegate, or RGS administrators. Following registration, additional sites can be added by the CPI or the CPI delegate, prior to inviting other project members to the project and completing project details and forms. Sites are added in the same way as previously demonstrated in registering a project video. Once a site is added to the Sites tab, you must click Save. If the site has been added in error and has not been saved, it can be removed. Once a site is saved, if you wish to remove it prior to making an ethics submission, you can do this by deactivating it. Though, following a submission, the site will have to be closed by the Research Governance Office associated with the site. To deactivate a site, select it and click here. Please be mindful that any project member that is only associated with this site will be removed from the project, so they may need to be assigned to another site to prevent this from occurring. Only active sites will be shown here. Select View All Sites to see the deactivated sites. Next, you can add project members. The Members tab should include the names of the CPI and all investigators who are responsible for WA Health sites, as well as other project members that have access to identifiable data about WA Health's participants or sites, even if they are outside WA. In addition, other research group members and sponsors can be added if they have been delegated the role of completing the ethics or governance forms. Project members, for example the CPI and the CPI delegate, which have already been added on project registration, will be listed here. The CPI and the delegate will be associated with all project sites. Only the CPI delegate and the CPI, the PI and the PI delegate can add and change a role or deactivate a project member. Project members are added to the project through an invitation process. You will only be able to invite RGS registered users. This can be done by searching for their name and selecting it. Or by typing in their name and checking it. Next, you will add their role. And then select the site they will be associated with. There can only be one PI per site, but the same PI can be responsible for multiple sites and can be the same person as the CPI. The CPI or the CPI delegate must add the PIs. Ensure that the project member is aware of their confidentiality requirements and then invite them to the project. The person will now be listed under the invited section. If invited in error, they can be uninvited if they have not already accepted their invitation. An on-screen message will be shown. The invited person will receive a project invitation email as well as a withdrawn email. They will be removed from the invited section. If you're adding a member and can't find their name, an email template is provided for your use. The template wording asks the person to register with RGS and notify you when this is done so that you can invite them to the project. The CPI or CPI delegate can invite all project members at the same time, or wait until the PIs have accepted their invitations and then ask them or their PI delegates to add project members for their sites. If a role is not available, you will not be able to select it. PI delegates can't be added until the PIs have accepted their invitation, but they can be added as research group members and reassigned later. The invited project member will receive an invitation email. They can click on the link, which will take them to the login page. Once logged into RGS, they will be taken to their My Task screen where they can accept your invitation. The invited person can either accept or decline the invitation. Prior to accepting, they must select whether they are acting as a WA Health employee on the project. If the answer is no, then they will have to read and sign the Declaration of Confidentiality. If the answer is yes, this is not required. Then they must agree to maintain the project's confidentiality requirements and accept the invitation. Once they've accepted the invitation, the person inviting them will receive a project invitation acceptance email. The project member now has access to the project workspace. Once the new project members have accepted their invitations, they will be listed with their employing organisation and the project sites they are responsible for, the date they were added and the date they were accepted or changed. Those with multiple roles or multiple sites will be hidden under the plus sign. The roles of project members can be changed. Select the name and then click Edit Member. You can add a role. For example, if the CPI is also the PI, the CPI delegate can also have the PI delegate role added. Alternatively, you can remove a role. A project member can be deactivated from the project if they are leaving it, though their role must be changed to an RGM for this to occur. First, remove all roles and then add an RGM role. Now you can select them and remove them. Provide a reason if you want to. The person will then be listed under inactive. If you have inactivated someone in error, they can be reactivated by the RGS administrator. Once all project members have been invited or added, you can start completing project details. It is preferable if they accept their invitation prior to finalising project details, but if not, they can accept their invitation at any time prior to submitting any ethics application forms. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you have found it informative.